In a world where royalty often hides behind grand palaces and opulent lives, it's rare for the personal struggles of such figures to be laid bare for the world to see. But in the case of Sheikh Hamdan, the Crown Prince of Dubai, and his ex-wife, Hadia Zen, things have taken a very public and deeply emotional turn. The story of their troubled relationship and the fallout between them has captivated many. Their love story, once filled with affection and hope, has now become one of heartbreak and betrayal. And the last words shared between them, particularly Hadia's response to Sheikh Hamdan, speak volumes about the pain, disappointment, and unresolved issues that remain. To fully understand the depth of Hadia's feelings and the impact of her words, we need to take a closer look at what happened between her and Sheikh Hamdan. Their relationship had been a subject of intrigue, not just for the public, but also for those within the royal circle. Hadia Zen, a woman of grace, intelligence, and beauty, entered into the world of Dubai's elite when she became the wife of the Crown Prince. However, what many did not know was that their relationship was not as flawless as it appeared. The cracks began to show over time, and eventually it became clear that things were falling apart. The first major issue arose when Sheikh Hamdan asked Hadia to return to his palace and live with him and their 2 children. A request that many would see as a step toward reconciliation, yet for Hadia it was much more complicated. She responded with a demand of her own, one that Sheikh Hamdan was unwilling to meet. She said that she would only return if he divorced Sheikha Thani, his second wife. For Hadia, this was not just a matter of personal preference, it was a matter of respect and trust. She could not, in good faith, return to a situation where her husband had married someone else without her consent or understanding. Their conversation ended in a heated argument, one that would mark a turning point in their relationship. Despite several days passing, Sheikh Hamdan did not reach out to Hadia, and Hadia, in turn, was left waiting for his call. She had already made her feelings clear, but Sheikh Hamdan remained silent, unwilling to meet her terms. For Hadia, this silence spoke volumes. It confirmed what she had suspected for some time, that their marriage was not one built on mutual respect or understanding, but rather one that had been tainted by secrets, betrayals, and unspoken resentments. But then on March 5, 2025, something happened that no one expected. Hadia Zen shared a poem on her Instagram account that seemed to be a direct response to Sheikh Hamdan's last poem, which had been publicly shared not long before. This poem was not just a collection of words, it was an emotional release, a way for Hadia to express the pain, disappointment, and betrayal she had felt throughout their relationship. The poem was a raw, honest reflection of her feelings, and it seemed like a final statement to the man she once loved. The poem Hadia shared was filled with powerful imagery and emotional depth, with each line revealing the inner turmoil she had endured. The poem itself was a masterful combination of personal reflection, poetic expression, and a direct confrontation with Sheikh Hamdan. It spoke not only of love lost, but also of the deep sense of betrayal that Hadia felt after giving so much to the relationship and receiving so little in return. The poem begins with Hadia questioning the morality of the entire situation. "I always wonder who is right, who is wrong. I gave you my love, stood by you strong." She reflects on her unwavering commitment to the relationship, how she had stood by him through thick and thin. She calls herself the wife who believed, someone who had given her all to the marriage, but now she feels betrayed. These lines mark the beginning of a deep emotional reckoning, as Hadia comes to terms with the fact that, despite all her love and devotion, Sheikh Hamdan had failed to honor her faith in him. In the next lines, Hadia makes it clear that her love was never about material wealth or status. Not for riches, not for gold, but for love the purest untold. This line is particularly poignant because it highlights the purity of her feelings. Hadia loved Sheikh Hamdan not because of his royal title or his immense wealth, but because of who he was as a person. This is a direct rebuttal to the assumption that she was in the relationship for the luxuries that came with it. She loved him for his soul, for the man he was behind the title. But it is here, in this vulnerability, that she reveals the depth of her hurt. "I had only trust, a heart," So true, yet you shattered it. What did it mean to you? Her heart was full of trust, and yet it was shattered by his actions. Hadia is not just questioning his behavior, she is questioning his very understanding of the damage he has caused. For her, this was not just an issue of broken promises. It was a deep wound in the fabric of their relationship, one that had eroded the trust she had placed in him. The next verse in the poem turns more confrontational as Hadia addresses Sheikh Hamdan directly. Now you stand pretending I'm the one to blame, yet I walked away from betrayal, not a foolish game. Hadia calls out Sheikh Hamdan for portraying her as the one who abandoned the relationship. In reality, she feels it was him who pushed her away with his actions. It wasn't pride or selfishness that led her to walk away. It was the pain of betrayal, a pain that had festered for too long. One of the most striking parts of the poem comes in the lines, "Remember sometimes your sun blinds your grace, and shadows stretch across your face." These lines are both metaphorical and symbolic. Hadia is saying that Sheikh Hamdan's pride, his power, or his status may have blinded him to the reality of the situation. His own sun, which represents his strength and position, might have prevented him from seeing the truth, the harm he caused. The shadows stretching across your face could symbolize the darkness that now clouds his character, a darkness that Hadia attributes to his betrayal. She warns him to be careful with his words, to weigh his actions thoughtfully, because at one point she was the one who brought warmth into his life. "For I gave you life's breath in love's embrace." This line is particularly poignant, because it reflects the nurturing, loving role Hadia once played in his life. She was the one who supported him, loved him unconditionally, and gave him the emotional strength he needed. And yet, in the end, it was all thrown away. Finally, Hadia delivers the most powerful lines of the poem. "You call me lifeless, a fading shade, yet I was the spirit you betrayed. And if you leave, know this is true, I had already left before you knew." Here, Hadia refutes any notion that she was emotionless or distant. She reveals that she was once full of life, but that life was drained from her by his betrayal. The final lines are a powerful declaration of emotional independence. While Sheikh Hamdan may have thought he was the one walking away, Hadia makes it clear that she had already emotionally detached long before he realized it. This poem, shared by Hadia Zen, is more than just a message to Sheikh Hamdan. It is a statement to the world about the pain she endured, the trust she lost, and the strength it took for her to finally walk away. It's an expression of love turned to ashes, a love that she gave fully but never truly received in return. Hadia's words challenge Sheikh Hamdan's perception of their relationship, urging him to see the truth of what happened between them. It is clear that Hadia was deeply hurt by the betrayal, but she also demonstrates incredible resilience and strength. She is not seeking pity or sympathy, but rather confronting the reality of the situation head-on. In doing so, she is reclaiming her voice, her power, and her dignity. For Hadia, this poem is not just about expressing her hurt. It is about asserting her independence and showing the world that she is no longer the woman who was deceived, but a woman who has moved on and found her strength. As we reflect on Hadia Zen's last words to Sheikh Hamdan, we can't help but feel the weight of her pain and the depth of her love. This poem is not just a personal message to her ex-husband. It is a message to anyone who has ever felt betrayed, deceived, or abandoned in a relationship. It is a testament to the strength it takes to let go and move on from the pain of the past, no matter how deeply that pain may run. In conclusion, Hadia's poem serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of trust, loyalty, and respect in relationships. It also underscores the fact that sometimes, no matter how much love and devotion we give, we cannot change the actions of others. All we can do is take control of our own lives, find healing, and move forward. As for Sheikh Hamdan, whether he ever fully understands the extent of the damage he caused remains to be seen. But for Hadia, this chapter is closed. Her words may have been the final ones in their story, but they are words of strength, self-respect, and the undeniable power of emotional independence.